More minutes for you, and then thank you very much.
Cooperation from the Baltimore City Police Department, and that cooperation has been excellent, that we will be able to continue to operate.
You talked about the normality inside. You're also, some things started again today that had been shut down as far as trips to court and so forth. Can you explain that?
Yes, for the first time this morning we made our normal runs to criminal court in Baltimore anyway. We sent 22 inmates out, and they were transported by the Baltimore City Police Department, and they're also maintaining our lockup down in the courthouse. In addition to that, we started attorney visits today, so things are getting more and more back to normal.
You said, I believe, the first day of the walkout that you thought you might be able to go a day or two with the supervisory staff on hand and so forth. Now it's become 4 days, 5 days and more. What's your assessment of it now? Are you less concerned than you were the first couple of days?
I would have to say yes. I was very dubious at the beginning, although our supervisors said that as far as they were concerned, we could go on indefinitely. But after seeing the cooperation that we're getting from the inmate and the inmate council, I think we can pretty well get along like this for quite some time if we have to.
And there's also normal activities going on inside with the men. They're getting recreation and so forth?
Yes, we've been giving recreation for each section every day. Showers are being provided. The only thing that is a bit of a hassle right now is the fact that we're still feeding our inmates inside of their cells, and I would hope that we'd be able to return to the dining hall pretty soon.
Rolling. Take two. What about the criminal court situation? You're taking prisoners now.
Yes, for the first time this morning, we moved 22 of our inmates to the criminal court in Baltimore. They're being transported by the Baltimore City Police, and the police are also maintaining the lockup down at the courthouse.
And attorneys are allowed in and so forth now?
Yes, we are allowing attorneys in on somewhat of a limited basis, but we will be able to get them in.
That's the first time that's happened since the strike?
Yes, this is the first day for that. Activities are all on.
You've also begun transporting prisoners for the first time today?
Yes, for the first time we have 22 of our inmates. You know, they're calling Farber back into court, the union is, because that was one of the strong points on the injunction health.
Mr. Reeves, what happened this morning on the picket line?
Well, we're following the same procedure we've been following for the past 4 days as far as the strike is concerned with our pickets. We weren't actually stopping anyone. We did pull a car into the driveway in order to try to eliminate some of the staff personnel from driving their cars onto the jail property. But the police department asked us to move it, and we did. And then soon afterwards, we were all arrested. There was a total of 17 of us, including one of the union officials from council.
Did you lock arms to form a human chain?
We did originally when we had the car there, but after that we did not. We had released the gate to the public, the people that wanted to go in, if they wanted to. All we're legally allowed to do is ask them not to go in.
So you didn't, in your opinion, obstruct free passage?
No,
then?
sir. We don't feel that we did, and there are several other things that we feel that's going to make this our case that we're going to win it, because several legal terms have come up. We've discussed it with the attorneys, and we feel we've got a good chance. We're not going to be found guilty of these charges.
Did you jam a jack into the main gate and try to gum up the machinery?
It wasn't to gum up the machinery. There was a jack placed there to keep the gate from opening after the car was moved, but then that was also removed as soon as we were asked to remove it. We don't know why we were arrested. That's what we're getting at.
The warden said that he sort of expected something to happen because the jail operations have been going too well, and he expects more. Do you expect more?
We feel that the warden should make his statement more clear, because I have been into the institution, and I've seen that the institution is not running the way they're describing it. I was called in with as a union representative to have a session with the inmate council, which is the one inmate from each section that more or less coordinate with the institution. Initiative to make us want to stay there that much longer. We're going to fight until we win. We're not giving up, and we have the support of the International Association that we're a member of our union, and we're not going to give up until we win.
Bother you that you were arrested?
No, it doesn't.
Or do you think you'll be acquitted?
I know I'm going to be acquitted. I know they have nothing to hold us on.
Okay.
Okay, ready, yes. All right, this morning we had a meeting of our striking steering committee and our negotiating team, who represent the thousands of people in Baltimore City who are out on strike. And out of this meeting came this resolution that Local 44's steering committee, strike steering committee, declared we are stronger than ever now and ready to bargain in good faith at an official meeting anytime that the mayor and the powers that be in Baltimore City is ready to do so. All we want is a decent contract. This was the resolution that was passed by this committee.
Ray, can we ask a question here? Only with the mayor?
This is the resolution. They want to meet with the mayor. We were told by the Labor Commission that he would carry the message and he would get back to us. And they want someone who can make a decision on the spot rather than have to run and get information.
Have you diluted any of the two major points, Ray?
We have not diluted either of the two major points. The two major points, as you well know, is the 50 cents across the board and the abolishment of the point system.
And you meet with nobody else but the mayor?
This is the demand from this committee.
Dr. Farber said yesterday that the city could go for several months, that there was no health hazard, that he would, as health commissioner, was not concerned about it at all, and that everything was being contained pretty well. What's the union's point of view on this?
And I'd like to know what have happened from Saturday till Monday to change his thinking.
What about strike benefits, Ray? And what about aid from the AFL-CIO council?
I think if you followed the news media, and you are yesterday, that we got a strong...
The court hearing today on a daily basis rather than a cumulative basis after the strike is over. If you should lose this battle in court today, how much damage could it do your union?
I think that I have to refer you to my lawyers on this. They're handling our court case.
We've heard rumors that AFSCME is going to support the debt moratorium, suspension of debt payments from the city to the banks. Is this
Watson and Doug Turning, that the only thing they were interested in were to feed and clean the animals. We have no fight with the animals in the zoo. Our fight's in City Hall.
So what's going to happen?
That they're permitted to feed the animals.
but nobody else is allowed
But
in.
no one else is allowed in.
On the jail situation, Ray, there was a lot of talk yesterday that many...
How about singing a little song for him?
One man to have if you want to make the city a dump.
123 men reported for duty this morning and crossed the picket lines. And this compares against a normal Friday morning of 236. So you can see 113 men did not respond. Now, this coupled with the men that we have on duty already, and we're switching over to the 12-hour day, brings us to a total of 455. 300 and some of these men will phase out at noon, and we have another 340 men coming in at noon. And we'll be functioning out there at a strength much superior than we normally have.
But with these kinds of shifts, Mr. Commissioner, won't you have to draw perhaps on other neighboring communities?
I have no intention of drawing on other neighboring communities. I have 100 state policemen standing by on a 30-minute call. They're all out at Pikesville at state police headquarters. I have another 200 or 300 I can call on by simply making a telephone call.
Doesn't look like you'll need those state policemen?
I may use them. It's a little premature to state whether I will or not.
Do you contemplate the National Guard?
I see no necessity for the Guard at this time.
But if this is a protracted strike, wouldn't that be the
Well,
requirement?
I think that's normal, yes.
Any picket line problems?
None to my knowledge. I've been out there.
Do you have any hesitancy in bringing in the National Guard?
This is a decision to be made by the governor of the state of Maryland, not the police commissioner.
But you would recommend it, would you, if you needed to?
Well, of course. We've had the Guard in here before.
Any negotiations scheduled?
You'd have to discuss that with the mayor and Mr. Hillman. The issue is between the collective bargaining unit of a class of police officers, the mayor, and his labor commissioner. There's no issue between the bargaining unit and the police commissioner.
Commissioner, personally, what do you think about your men going out on strike?
I think it's a very reprehensible, unprofessional act, and just cannot be condoned.
You don't think
anyone.
there's any justification in terms of the wage demands that they're making?
I have stated publicly a number of times this past week that the salaries that they're seeking are absolutely justified. The means by which they are attempting to achieve this goal is completely reprehensible. I also agree with the mayor of this city. He has an empty treasury. While this may sound like a mass of contradictions, I don't believe it is. I think they're entitled to the money they're seeking, but I think they should have waited. And I think working together with the state and the city and other resources, we could have developed the funds.
Commissioner, Friday night's one of the worst nights in Baltimore traditionally for crime. Are you going to try to even get more men on the street tonight because of the problem?
Let's see. I indicated to you earlier that we would probably have in the mid-450s, and normally we only have 307.
That will be tonight?
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you, Joe.
Sir?
And so the picketing continues, and as one non-union police officer told me inside headquarters, he wouldn't be out on the picket lines no matter if he was in the union. And he said when these people come back to work, things may be a little bitter and morale may be way, way down. For Newswatch, Wayne Lynch reporting. Colonel, what is the posture of the Guard at this moment?
Well, at the present time, we're just monitoring the situation from the standpoint of the National Guard. It's been a policy of the Guard to have contingency plans, and for many years we have had plans for nuclear disaster, civil disorder, civil disobedience. So the plans are already in effect. They've always been there. And right now it's just a matter of monitoring the situation as it exists until such time as we are given the word by the governor to the Adjutant General, Major General Warfield, that there is a need for the Guard.
If there would be a need, how many men might be called up in the first wave, and how long would it take, these kinds of things?
Well, it would be difficult to say. We would try to get the amount of men that would be required, and this would be something that would have to be given to us, let's say, by the state police. In other words, we follow the state police. If Commissioner Pomelo has a need for additional law enforcement people, he would call for the state police and understand that they are standing by for that call if it becomes necessary. Now, at the time that the state police get, well, it's not a matter of not handling it. They have, they're good law enforcement. They have a capability. The only thing is they're limited to personnel, and after a sustained amount of time on the street, they have to be relieved so they can rest. At that particular time, it may require Colonel Smith from the state police to go to the governor and ask for the Guard so that they can have someone to replace them while they're getting a brief reprieve.
How much time would this all take to get people ready from the Guard to take?
Well, although we would make every effort to reduce the response time as much as we could.
Okay. Irv, will you get... Colonel, what else can you tell the public?
Well, I would like to point out that this is Friday, and that normally on weekends we do have units that are in a drill status. And this particular status is something that is planned on a quarterly training schedule. So this weekend we do have units that will be drilling. And I'd like to point out that the people should not get overly excited that the Guard has not been called up as of this time, but they will be in the Armory in their normal drill status.
All they're doing is drilling. They're not preparing for any emergencies relating to the strike.
That's right. It has nothing to do with the situation in Baltimore. Now, if it escalates, we'd be fortunate, once again, getting back to response time, that they are present. Right. But their presence this weekend, as of right now, has nothing to do with the situation in Baltimore. It's a normal drill that is being scheduled for this weekend, for Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
Perhaps getting a commercial establishment to come in and haul that trash away for you as an alternative?
Yes, well, I've talked to my boss about it, and I hope, later on he began to do something about it.
How do you feel about the strikers, period? Do you feel that they're justified or what?
No, I really don't, because you look at it this way, it's just too much garbage, and it's by people's having different types of business. I don't think it was right.
Mr. Tubman, I understand before the strike you did rely on sanitation workers to pick up your trash. Is that true?
Yes, very much so. We have a business here, but we stay within the minimum, which is 4 cans and packaged cardboard, yes.
What have you done now that they are now into their 11th day? How do you feel about the strike? Are you in sympathy with it, or just what do you feel?
I would say so, because, well, I feel that everyone deserves a decent wage, and I don't think these men are getting a fair shake right now. I used to be a union man myself.
We are paying more taxes.
Since you rely on city workers to pick up your trash, how are you being affected now that they're into their 11th day of the strike? You know the sanitation workers strike is now into its 11th day. How's it beginning to affect you as a person who operates hands for more money?
Well, I think the strikers deserve more money, but who knows where the money's going to come from.
I understand you normally rely on city sanitation workers to pick up the trash, and now they're in the strike. How's it affecting you?
Well, we have to take it out ourselves every other 2 days.
The strike is now into its 11th day, and I understand you normally rely on the city workers to pick up your trash. How's it affecting? How do you feel about the strike in general? Do you agree with the men, disagree with them, or just what?
I agree with them. Very much so. They deserve a raise, and I think they should get it.
How is the sanitation workers strike affecting you?
Have you had any trouble? Little, not much. Not around here. He had it out in Lansville. That's where he should have been last night. You had trouble out there? Yeah. Stay right there, Joe. Turn around. Look at the man. Hold the sign. Everybody's getting into the act.